Our film begins with some experiments and tests that work on humans, and we do not know who is doing these tests and why. But it is clear that these experiments turn what you are working on to people with extraordinary abilities, not in ordinary humans. And then we move to a secret site of Russian military experiments. And we see some scientists as they explain how the war machines they work to be an alternative to humans in wars and conflicts. And when they started their experience, we noticed that these machines are really strong and their reaction is faster than any human. But this situation changes when the tanks intervene, because the machines take the attack mode without taking orders from one side and get out of control and destroy the tanks and planes that come to stop them, and then blow up the tower where the inventors and the army are located and be eliminated all those present. And then a very strange person appears to take the machines and Bimchi. And then we move to the Russian Ministry of Defense, and General Dolgov is tasked, Elena, with the task of getting rid of the strange person that appeared with the machines. Dolgov talks about this person and says that he remains Dr. Kurt, the scientist who was in charge of the technological department in a secret military program named Patriots. And then we move to a military base, and Benchoff Court enters very easily and starts taking some equipment, and it is clear that he is preparing for a big disaster. And then we go to Dolgov and Elena in the military headquarters that they follow the operation, and Elena's mission is to collect a group of people who worked on them experiments and turned them into superheroes, to confront him and his plan. Actually, Elena begins to charge those who work with her to search for the nearest superhuman people around her, and one can find someone who controls the rocks, and along Elena moves to go to church with Lear, who was praying, and the first to come out Elena is standing and saying that she needs him with her. But Kurt McNish is not one enemy, Dr. Victor, who was in charge of the gene department in the same program, and because Victor's results were successful and Kurt was jealous, and because he stole one of his research and took him to a secret place and seemed to apply it. But after a little while his secret was revealed and the police started to arrest him, but Kurt was his account worker and dropped a bomb in the lab, and the first police broke into the bomb exploded. But the surprise was that he was a match, and that the chemicals mixed with his genes and turned him into an invincible monster, and he estimated that he would get rid of all the forces that came to arrest him. Lear moves all the rocks around them, and it is clear that he annoys and says that he remained just a shepherd and that he forgot any need he had in the past. But the first thing you know is that he gets rid of Kurt, change his mind, and then go to Khan, the masked person who is seeing Arab gang close to him. And then we are surprised by his terrible speed of movement, and he can save them all at a glance using his swords, and then he shows him Lear, and peeking that Kurt is back and destitute are taking revenge. Then we move to the Siberian plateau and bacon some of the soldiers who walk in the forests there and see a house that they were clearly looking for. But the first thing that one of them enters him in a collision is that he is blaspheming Brow with great force, and the hour is coming out. And then we move to a military base, and Benchoff Court enters very easily and starts taking some equipment, and it is clear that he is preparing for a big disaster. And then we go to Dolgov and Elena in the military headquarters that they follow the operation, and Elena's mission is to collect a group of people who worked on them experiments and turned them into superheroes, to confront him and his plan. Actually, Elena begins to charge those who work with her to search for the nearest superhuman people around her, and one can find someone who controls the rocks, and along Elena moves to go to church with Lear, who was praying, and the first to come out Elena is standing and saying that she needs him with her. Arceus, which is turning into a very strong predator bear, and after the end of the soldiers, he meets his friends Liar, Khan, and Bacon with them Lena, who says that this is not virtuous, only one. And then we will move to the National Circus with the last member of the group of guards and the one that is formed, Ksenia, which is to perform the presentation in front of the audience and is folded in a very special way in the water. But of course this is not the ability, because we see it and it is out of the water and its body is completely transparent, and we know that it disappears as soon as it touches the water. When she leaves her room, she is surprised by the presence of Khan. But she does not form an idea and attacks him strongly, and he does not want to harm her and try to think about it himself, and then he shows Lear and attacks him as both, and it is clear that she has problems in memory. To some extent, our Subatri too. Guide her and say that he knows the problem of her memory and know what is the reason, and ask her to join her, let them get rid of him. And they go to the military headquarters and know that she is not growing old, and so she was moving from one place to another when people were noticing that there were no signs of aging on her. And while they were talking, General Dolgov entered and said that they had identified the place where Kurt was. And here the four move on the place where Kurt's forces are in all parts, and Ksenia moves and exploits that the world is raining and can disappear, and Arsis is a violin, and they all start attacking the forces, and there is fierce fighting between them. And the guards are in full control of the situation and are able to overcome all the forces, and each one of them exploits his abilities in a way good.